What's going on? It's been a minute since I've been on Facebook Live. Actually, with this, Twitter. See, everything's changing. The social media accounts. You gotta have a premium account with Twitter now. But other than that, I'm live on Facebook. I'm live on LinkedIn. I'm live on YouTube. I'm live on. Well, I was live on Twitter, not anymore, and I'm live on Instagram. So you can go across live on all these platforms at once and it's pretty spectacular. So I appreciate everybody listening to the podcast and supporting me in that venture. So I just wanted to come on here because there was something that really popped up that's really interesting in terms of taxes for next year. And the IRS has come out now and lowered the threshold on PayPal, Cash App, Venmo, anything that's under $5,000, you will not get reported to the IRS, but anything over $5,000 will be reported to the IRS and you will get a 1099K, I believe it is, basically stating that this is income that you've received. So it was 20,000. They cut it down to 5,000 last minute here. And in 2026, I think it's going to go to $600. Now, obviously, you're going to have a new administration, so we'll just have to wait and see what goes on there. In terms of mortgage rates, I'll tell you, mortgage rates have stayed pretty much the exact same all year. If you look at where they started the beginning of the year to right now, they're pretty much the same, between 6.5 and 7, depending on your credit score. Obviously, I'm not a financial market guy. I'm not a stock market. I'm sorry, not a lender, and not a stock market guy either. But so yeah, I've changed a lot this year. My mindset's shifted. Life's been a lot more fun. But in terms of buying and selling and versus renting, it's definitely squeezed a little closer, but it kind of depends on your lifestyle and how you are going to live. You know, in a way, a mortgage payment is somewhat of forced savings, right? You have to have a roof over your head. So when you pay your mortgage, it's essentially like, obviously you pay interest, but the majority of your payments over time start to go to that principal. And so what it is it's forced savings that you can obviously dip into at any point over the course of your loan. So not only do you have appreciation going for you, but you also have paying you're paying down your mortgage. So those are two things that are obviously working for you as an investment. Now, if you don't view your house as an investment and you're moving and you don't know where life's going to take you within a few years, renting's probably the way to go. But if you're going to be 5 years, I'd say at least 5+ years, it's probably a good idea to buy. But if it's under 5 years, there is some questions that say, hey, should I rent or should I buy? And that's kind of one of those things that I would love to talk to you about. You make a game plan, because no matter what, you should start saving for a house or saving for some type of even a year's worth of rent, something to get ahead of that part. So obviously I put out a Facebook post when people started investing 2010, 11, 12, 13, 14. Money was cheap. You were able to land property, you were able to buy doors, and those people are now able to flip those doors and sell them for a lot of equity. They've paid down the mortgage and it's appreciated. Two drastic things that are going to increase the wealth. So there's a lot of wealthy individuals that are cashing in real estate, and that's just the nature of the beast. It's the market they got to go in. So now we have to sit here and say we have to pivot in a way to figure out how to invest the proper way so that if there is a downturn, you're prepared for it. But in terms of rates, I think rates are irrelevant. It's all about cash on hand. People have a tough time going month to month, which are going past month to month because things are expensive. Everybody knows that. How do you walk into Target and you walk out with 4 bags and it's like $100 a bag, or you walk into the dollar store and it's still expensive. No matter where you go, things are expensive, and people are realizing that. So it's putting a little pressure on people, and I think more people don't really like to talk about it because who wants to talk about negative things? But the way I think to grow and to kind of cope with certain things is to just get out and talk about it. Just be yourself, because that's what people really magnetize to is that authentic self, and people will want to keep coming back to you. If anybody knows any people that want to come on this podcast that have an awesome story, I am wide open for this podcast in terms of having guests on that have a story. I really have used this platform as a way to get messages out, and I think going forward, that's basically what I'm going to do with this platform is really push messages. Things like, you got these, you know, uh, charities and different people in St. Louis. Shout out to St. Louis Youth Sports Outreach. Um, they're an awesome nonprofit that's doing tremendous things for this community. So that type of stuff is is awesome. But really, that biggest thing was that Cash App and that Venmo, because you're going to get that tax form and you're going to have to figure out what to do with it. So contact your CPA, Mr. Wheeler. He's not a CPA, but anymore. So yeah, I did get a speeding ticket. Yeah, got a speeding ticket. First one in my life. I was going 85 and a 70. I was going 83. He said I was going 85. I'm still, Cassidy says she gets to hear about it daily, which she does. Um, yeah, but so I got that being taken care of. We're gonna get that to a parking violation. Get those points off my license, right, Jake? Yeah. All right. So yeah, other than that, I just wanted to come on here, and there's a guy, Pat Hilton. He's on here every single day. The guy every single day he's on live, and he shows up. He's got one of the largest content followings I've really ever seen, and the guy shows up day after day after day with some type of new skill or something that he's implementing every single day that is just advancing his content creation, and it's pretty cool to watch. And I take a lot of notes from individuals like that really pound out content, and they provide valuable things to their audience, and it shows because he's got a lot of people that follow him. So yeah, obviously, to sum up some things going into 25, we're still out here. We're still in real estate. I really prefer if we had a few more millennials get into the market, um, because I know how valuable just having a single investment. If you need to rely on cash, if you need to rely on just any extra expense that you could pull out or have a line of credit through your home while paying for savings and setting yourself up for some part of a future, it's truly powerful. Now, don't get me wrong, there are times where renting will be the smarter play, and I'll sit here and tell you that right now. But um another thing, loss. I did a podcast last night. I sat down here. I'll just turn on the camera and just start um, jamming on the podcast. And I did one kind of about loss and grief, and it's gonna come out tomorrow. And it's just basically it's a quick little 10-minute podcast. But I talk about how you have to grieve. Like, loss is very hard if you hold it in, and loss is even harder when the person is still living. I think that's one of the most difficult things in life is when you lose people who are still with you. it's a very hard thing to cope with, I think. So I kind of sat down here and I jammed out, and we got that podcast coming out tomorrow. So other than that, reach out to me, anything, content, podcast questions, um, speeding ticket questions. Yep. Anything else? Let's see. I think that's about it. But like Pat Hilton said, you can go on any of these platforms. You can make accounts with an email. I'm connected through StreamYard. I have 5 different platforms this is all streaming to. It's very easy to get your name out there. It's very easy to get your brand out there. Now, if you don't have a reason to, then there's really no point. But at the same time, you have a story, and your life is not a mistake. Like, you're here for a reason. You're here for a purpose. And to think that you're not is simply just being naive. So you're here for something. And my man Drew just coming through the Facebook Messenger. Think about that guy. He wants to start a podcast. Talk about an awesome individual. Drew, he's a great lender. You see him, he's got great content. When you have that type of stuff, it just builds credibility, because then people can go to Spotify, they can go to Apple Music, they can pull up what you sound like, what you might bring to the table, or just your demeanor, and it's very powerful. So it's not just a tool in terms of you have to monetize it. It is a marketing, I want to say one of the best marketing tools that we have. So podcasts are truly incredible. Go ahead and get your furnace checked. I'm all over the place, right? Get your furnace checked. Go ahead and get your fireplaces. Gas is something I wouldn't mess with. My furnace is from 1987 and it's still chugging along. Because if you service it and you clean it, a lot of times this stuff can last. But the minute you neglect your furnace, don't change the filter, don't have it serviced, don't clean off sensors, stuff like that, you're gonna find yourself shortening the lifespan of high maintenance items. So that's where we're at. And anyone has any questions about anything, podcast, IVF, if there is anybody that's on the journey of IVF, it's a tough journey. Please, I got a Facebook group, and I'm here. I'm always open ears, because like I said, I was on that IVF journey, and it's a lonely place to be. But I wouldn't change it for the world, because we got an awesome girl, and it's truly a blessing. So I've really started to shift that mindset. Instead of saying I need to, you say I get to. You know what? I even say that about bills. I get to pay bills. I get to pay my electric. I get to pay my gas. Change the mindset, and everything else will change with it. Let's go.